Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Kenton Wakes Up. I'm Dr. Kenton. How you doing? Yeah, I hear you. It's been a long week, my friends. In the cup today is the last of this batch of Lavazza Perfetto with Coffeemate. Boy, that's good. We're starting to reach our Fahrenheit deficit. Woke up and it was 49 Fahrenheits outside, which is delicious, wonderful, delightful. Um, you know, signaling things to come. What is the word, Mrs. Studi? It's not foreboding, it's foreshadowing. More coffee, please. So, yesterday, I finished this book, Pappyland by Wright Thompson. I would recommend it. Really good. Sort of a meditation on, let's say, people in the third generation of a monstrous success story who want to find a way to get the success back. It seemed to me like it was um, a lengthy treatise on chasing the dragon, where the dragon is, in this case, Julian Van Winkle, trying to negotiate a way to recreate the bourbon recipe that his grandfather Pappy had originated in the whatever 40s 50s. And there's a lot of things involved. It's like life. And the story was by turns tragic and uplifting because the main character, Julian, is an extremely astute observer of what his life is and what his life has been, and how dedication to purpose. And in his case, the purpose was getting the potential to have Pappy Van Winkle back available to people. And I'm a person. I used to brew beer, so I understand the individual batch aspect of food stuff production, and that there was another home brewer. His last name was Richardson. I want to say his first name was Eric Richardson, but don't quote me on that. He was also from the South, Kentucky, I believe, or Tennessee. He had this very expensive heat exchanger rig that he called the Perfessor, not the Professor, the Perfessor. That his main goal was replication. So he wanted, when he got a recipe just the way he wanted all of his beers of that style to be exactly alike. And that's sort of the same underlying premise of this, is that the recipe. It might even be publicly published. But the reason it can be publicly published and have no fear that somebody's going to come along and steal your livelihood out from under you is that the recipe is just the just the first step. You make your mash and you make your small beer, and then you distill the alcohol from the small beer, and that's what becomes your the liquor, literally the liquor that sits in the barrels. Okay, so that process of fermentation is driven by yeast, and the yeast can have a huge flavor impact. So if the only thing you held secret was the yeast, you probably would be able to keep that entire secret forever. Well, in this case, the company that bought up the conglomerate that bought up the company that included Pappy got rid of the proprietary yeast strain. So there goes that. Then the next step is the the distillation. And if you don't distill things exactly right, it also isn't going to taste the same. And then there's the barrels, how the barrels are made. And then there's the aging, and God bless it. For bourbon, I think you have to age it for 6 years. There's a number. And Pappy starts with 15-year whiskey. So in the last chapter of the book, Thompson is talking about the tasting that is being done by Julian and his son, Preston. I'm going to feel bad if I get that wrong. So I'm going to look it up on try to the thing about Julian Van Winkle is that he has this very discerning palate. His ability to taste things is without par. And when he's making a case that the new bourbon is akin to the Stitzel Weller era, then he's the one that people will listen to, because he's the one that would know. Well, I'm not going to be able to find it. I thought his that son Preston. Yeah, I guess I was right. Anyway, so long story short, the juice, as they say. You know, when we get these barrels, the barrel is 30 gallons. And each of those has been sitting for 15 years. And after the 15 years, an amount of it evaporates. And you can, if you ever take the tour at Jameson, they'll show you that after, you might fill the thing so it's almost full, but then after 15 years it's maybe a half to 2/3 full, so you get 15 gallons instead of 30. Where's the rest go? That's the angel's share, call it. And the amount of alcohol that soaks into the staves is called the devil's cut. So anyway, you've got the mash bill, which you can publicize because no one can replicate your thing because of the things that come after. The fermentation with the special yeast, the distillation method, which this company that bought up the conglomerate that bought up the company replaced all their distillation materials with their own that were, perhaps designed by a CPA instead of a distiller. And then there's the barrel construction and charring and aging. There's a bunch of steps. I think the book talks about 5 keys. I think there are more than that, but anyway. He decides that he's transferred 15 years before the story the recipe to this company that runs Buffalo Trace to try to get the component of the Pappy Van Winkle that used to be Stitzel Weller that they can used the Buffalo Trace equipment and process and storage and casking to recreate, or as close as possible emulate the original Stitzel Weller. So anyway, I would recommend it, Pappyland by Wright Thompson. Wright Thompson wrote another book, not nearly so uplifting, but still focused on the what's the right word? Mythology of the South, called The Barn, which I have a hold on at the library. I got contacted yesterday saying that that hold is ready to be picked up. I'll be doing that when the library opens today after 10. And then there's in the book there's also a subplot that talks about the writings of Thomas Merton, who was a Trappist monk. Trappists have an association with brewing. Let me see if I didn't look this up, and it's not exciting to watch somebody reading a Wikipedia page, but here we go. Trappists have a relationship, at least the European Trappists have a relationship to brewing beers. But I don't think that Mr. Merton, or rather, what was his religious name? Anyway, Mary Louis, or Mary Lewis. He's a writer, personal life. Died in 1968 while he was in Thailand. But he was a writer. He left behind some diaries, and there's some books written, many books written about him. So one of the books I'm going to try to pick up today is I think it's called On Thomas Merton. And anyway, so it was a good way to spend a Friday evening, afternoon, whatever. So Saturday. Today, by the way, is Saturday, October 12th, 2024. Stardate 19,411 in an ongoing series. The ordinarily Saturdays are days of running errands and whatnot, but I received my endoscope that you can plug into your phone. There's an app for the phone that will let you use this thing. That I'm trying to track down where the clog is in my kitchen sink, why it's not allowing the water to drain the way it's supposed to. Maybe we can figure that out today. Maybe. Well, no, I don't know. I'll report back on Monday. Oh, by the way, just a prelude. See if I can get this quickly. There's I'll leave the list of topics in the note for today. But all right, so we're gonna start October 10th tomorrow, and so I have 7 days worth of things that you can do, split in two different ways, because even though there are 7 days in the tenths each month, they're not always on the same weekday. So Sunday, which is the first day of October 10th, the 13th, is resting day. Avoid external commitments. And the 13th, the date, are your personal management systems serving you? Review them and decide. So I will be paying attention to some review and reflection tomorrow about my personal management systems. I made some changes in the last handful of days that I've probably talked about, so I'll have some things to consider. I'll put the whole list in the so you can follow along at home if you wish. All right, pretty much it. I think my oatmeal is going to be ready downstairs. And in the meantime, love you, bye.